Good morning and happy Australia Day public holiday. Today's live, I'm going to help you with your long ride nutrition. And it's all part of the Academy, the Triathlon Nutrition Academy launch week. To celebrate, I'm going live every day and giving you lots of nutrition information to help support you to become a supercharged triathlete. So what I want to talk through today is basically getting you to understand what is going on in your long rides, because it's one of the biggest areas I see that people suck at is what they do in their long training sessions. And as part of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy, we're going to go through in a lot of detail what you actually do in your long rides and also long runs. Hello, everyone joining on Insta. I was wondering if people would actually come online today, being a public holiday. We've got heaps of familiar faces here. We've got Penny and Georgia Stewart and Beck Bergland. And I think that's Miss Ali. Erica, hi. So yeah, long ride nutrition is what we're going to talk about today. And hey, some of you might have been for a long ride this morning already, which is very, very lucky for you. It's raining here in Brisbane at the moment. I went to the gym this morning, I smashed myself. I've been for a quick swim. And they're trying to do some work today just in preparation for closing doors on Monday. Hey, Pen. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Long ride nutrition. So one of the biggest failures I see with triathletes is that they underfuel long rides. Apologies if I'm looking into different places. Instagram, you're here. Facebook, you're there. So, giving you half of my attention. Hopefully that's okay. And, if you're underfueling long rides, then you may have experienced this, but like that bonking or hitting the wall type sensation where you just have nothing left in the tank. Has anyone ever experienced that? You'll know if you have. You're peeling yourself off the bitumen to get yourself home. You're ducking in the servo to get a Coke or some lollies or smashing gels or something just to, get yourself back home. But yeah, that bonking feeling is where you just don't have any glycogen or fuel left in your muscle tank. You've used it all up, and we know, we have an idea of how long glycogen's going to last for. And there's no more fuel left in your tank as such, kind of like the petrol in your car, it's empty. So the only way to get yourself home is to slow down. So we start using more fat stores, or to have some really fast acting sugars like Coke and gels and lollies and things to give you some quick energy. But, you're going to feel absolutely floored for the next 1 to 2 days if you do bonk, or that hitting the wall. Penny said, I've been with you too long. I don't remember that feeling. Yes, so Penny's been working with us for years now. And probably was one of the things you did experience in the beginning though, Penny, but now that you have a plan for your rides, then that's not going to happen again, right? Right. Good slide in there. Good promo, Penny. Thank you. All right. So yeah, that would be a key indicator that you suck at your long ride nutrition if you have experienced that or that happens often. The other thing that you might be really sucking at is that after you do a long ride, you just can't peel yourself off the couch afterwards. You go into a really long session, you feel okay during that, and then you get home and you're absolutely floored. Like you're stuck on the couch watching Netflix, trying to nibble on all the carbs because you've just absolutely smashed yourself and you've just wasted the rest of your day. So you might have ridden for, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 hours, and that's really early in the morning, and then the whole rest of your day is wasted. One of my clients, Sarah, came to see me right in the beginning because she feared for her life and feared she was going to get divorced because she just couldn't get herself off the couch after long weekend sessions. And so she was wasting the rest of that day, not spending the time with her girls, and her husband's like, hang on a minute, what is going on? I didn't sign up for this. So one of her key goals was to make sure that she could spend time with her family on the weekends and not just be absolutely toast on the couch. So that could be another indicator that long ride nutrition is not working for you that well if that's the case after sessions. And then if you feel like that as well, then chances are you may not be so hungry on that day. You might be just absolutely ravenous, but usually the hunger monster wreaks havoc 1 to 2 days after. And usually for us, that's a lighter or rest day as triathletes. We don't necessarily rest, but it might be like an active recovery day. We might go for an easy swim or a walk or just an easy jog or an easy ride or something like that. It's not a very high calorie burn day, but so your energy needs on that day are not that high, but you just can't stop eating. The hunger monster is just like, you put me in a massive hole yesterday. I'm going to now send out all my hunger hormones and make you catch that deficit up. But you shouldn't necessarily be eating like that on a lighter or rest day. So that's another indicator that something's not going right for you, and it's an easy fix. You just need a plan to know what you're doing. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you as part of the Academy. Hey, Julie Dundon, what are you doing on my Instagram Live? All right, so they would be some of the key sort of things in the back of your mind. If you're like, hang on a minute, that's me. You probably need to visit what you're doing with your long ride nutrition. The other thing that I see really commonly with people is that they are really stressed and anxious on long rides that are bunchies, and they're really stressed about getting dropped. You might be trying to ride with people that are better than you or faster than you, which is great. It's going to get you fitter and faster if you do that. But there's like that level of anxiety and stress that you're going to get dropped when you do that. And you may just be hanging onto the wheel in front of you for dear life, just making sure that you survive and you don't get dropped. So that could be one of the things to consider too with your fueling, is if you have that feeling and you're trying to push up and ride with a faster group, then you might need to revisit your fueling strategy for sessions like that as well. So if you feel stressed and anxious about riding with groups, then chances are nutrition could be something to help with that. Because really what I want for you is that you feel super confident in your plan. Okay, you should be able to go for a long ride and know that you're going to make it home. You're not going to get dropped. You're not going to have to quickly go to the servo and grab a Coke or something to get yourself home. And really just have energy in the back end of a long ride. That is a good indicator that you've got things worked out close or, well enough. If in the back end of a long ride, you're still feeling really good, because we get our performance gains in the back end of sessions. That's where we start doing all of our metabolic adaptations that make us fitter and faster athletes. That's why we train, right? We want to become fitter. We want to get faster. So it would make sense if we were fueling differently and we felt that energy in the back end, that we might actually be getting the benefit of doing that type of training as well. Because that's what I want for you. I want you to be confident that you know what you're doing and you're not going to get dropped. And I also want you to have energy in the back end. And then I guess after you've finished your ride, I want you to feel good after that as well. I want you to be able to get off the couch and not be stuck there for the rest of the day. I want you to be able to go and play with your kids, or be able to go and do the grocery shopping without just falling into a heap in the afternoon. And then also not just playing catch up with your nutrition the next day as well. So they're the sorts of things that I'm going to teach you how to do within the Triathlon Nutrition Academy. And I also want you to become one of the athletes that helps others in rides. So if you've been working with a sports dietitian like myself for a while, people will look at you and be like, what are you doing? But I want you to be that person in the group that is like got a plan for their fueling. They know, you know exactly what you're doing and everything is tested and you love it. And people looking at you going, what like magic pill have you just taken? Why are you like smashing me up this hill? That is another indicator that you've got things right. So when it comes to fueling on the bike as triathletes, the bike is pretty much your opportunity to get a lot of nutrition in. I like to call it the rolling buffet, because you've got plenty of places to put stuff. Like you might have a bento box on your top tube. You might have bottle cages either on your frame between your legs or behind you in the saddle, or something on your front aero bars. Or a lot of bikes now, this is so cool, a lot of bikes now, hey Darren Dillon, a lot of bikes now are putting a lot of fueling and hydration stuff within the frame. So frames will have like full-on bladders in them with a straw up to your mouth. They're putting in cool little inbuilt bento boxes and little like bento boxes that click in between your legs. Like there's so many different options for carrying food and fluids on bikes now that just didn't exist like 10 to 15 years ago. Side note, one of my favorite hydration systems on the bike would be Speed Fill if you don't have something built into your bike already. They are an American company, but they've got some really cool bottles with straws on them that don't have to sit on the front handlebars, because that's extra weight on your handlebars, right? It's going to change the way that you steer. But the Speed Fill system actually attaches down on your frame. So it's got that weight down low. It's not going to affect your balance that much. And then the straw comes up through, like up by the frame and comes up to your mouth where it's readily available. So yeah, side note, that'd be one of my favorite hydration setups if you don't have the option of it being on your bike. So feel free to jump in and ask me questions too, by the way. Or say hi if you're watching here on Facebook. I can't actually see. There's 5 people watching on Facebook. Who are you? Say hi and tell me who you are. Feel free to jump in and ask questions because I will just keep going. I can talk all day about triathlon nutrition. It's like my favorite topic to talk about. But the bike is what I call Facebook. Hey guys, sorry. The bike is the rolling buffet. So we've got plenty of opportunity to carry things, fluids and foods. You've also got your jersey pockets in the back here. Or if you're actually like racing, you might have your tri-suit. So there's plenty of options for fueling. Who have we got on Facebook? Oh, it says hi. I'm not sure who you are. It says Facebook user. You have to give permission to StreamYard to know who you are, but that's okay. Hello, whoever it is. So in terms of fueling in a triathlon, whether it's training or racing, you've got plenty of opportunity to carry stuff and eat it. It's so different to running. Running, you have less opportunity to like carry stuff, particularly if you don't like carrying things on you. And your tummy's jiggling up and down. So your digestion and absorption is much more affected. Anita Ramage said hi, and Peter said hi. How are you going on Facebook? Your tummy's jiggling up and down running, so it's harder to digest and absorb. It's also harder to eat and chew and breathe and stuff while you're running as well. So the bike is definitely your opportunity to do a better job of fueling because your tummy is still. It's nice and still as you're riding along, and you don't have to worry about carrying things in your hands or physically on your back. You can carry a lot of stuff on your bike. And you should have more easy access to food as well. So in terms of racing, the bike is where I like to put a lot of the fueling because it's easier to digest and it's easier to access compared to on the run where it's harder to eat, harder to digest, and you have to carry heaps of stuff. Or you're relying on aid stations every 2 kilometres, and that's totally fine as well. It's just harder to guarantee your intake if you're relying on aid stations because, well, COVID's kind of been a bit of a dampener in aid stations, but you've got to grab your own stuff now. How can you guarantee how much fluid's in a cup? How can you guarantee how much actually goes into your mouth and not all over you as you're trying to run, particularly if you're running fast? And you have to be comfortable and confident with what is available at aid stations as well. And every race is different. The Ironman events will always get sort of, I guess, sponsored by certain products every year. So at the moment it's sponsored by Gatorade Sports Drink, and then they've got the Morton gels, but that might change next year, and it constantly changes and evolves. So you'd be constantly changing and evolving your nutrition if you were relying on that as well. All right, so the rolling buffet, there's plenty of options for fueling on the bike. And I've seen definitely a very big movement away from commercial sports nutrition products over the years. People are looking for more sort of real food options when it comes to nutrition, like making their own stuff, or some of the commercial stuff is airing down that more side of like real food, natural type things. And I guess what you have really is individual, and it depends on what you like. As part of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy, I will definitely guide you with these are good products, these are ones to steer clear of. Because there are certain types of carbohydrates that we're looking for. There's certain sorts of makeups of sports drinks that we're looking for. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to what you like as well. You need to be using a sports product or whatever you're doing for fueling that you like, because that's going to encourage you to consume it. If you don't like it, then you're more likely to not have it. And you're less likely to keep up with your fueling if you don't really like what you're doing. And that might be one of the failings of people when they do long sessions is if you don't sort of feel like you need it, like you're not hungry, you feel like not too bad. So you're like, oh, I just won't have that. And then an hour or so later, you're like, I'm in a deep hole. So definitely don't rely on your hunger as a cue for fueling. And I'm going to teach you how to do that as part of the academy. So if you're looking at like real food options, that can be a good strategy in particular for the off season. You can make your own stuff. It's super easy. I actually created the Fuel Your Adventure book for that. It's on my website. I can pop the link up in here once I finish, but it's got lots of homemade energy balls. There's some bike bars in here. There's some savory options as well. So these are my bike bars. So you can make your own like ride fuel. And there's a sports drink, homemade sports drink recipe in here. And I've got a few more as well if we end up working together, because sports drink is really just a couple of components. It's not complicated. It's a lot of marketing. And if you're sensitive to things, or you want to go more down that natural route, then you can certainly make your own sports drink as well. And I can guide you in building one that's right for you, because we want to have certain types of sugars. We want to look at the sodium content and a few other factors. But that's definitely an option if you want to head down that path. I know that some people are definitely into more homemade stuff, which is totally fine. You just need to understand when to use homemade stuff or real food and when you should be using more sort of commercial products. And that's something I'll teach you within the academy, because we have kind of seasons to our fueling. It would depend on what sort of season you're in, whether it's like your peak race season or if you're in off season as a triathlete. Because remember, we need some training periodization to our programming, not just training hard all the time. Same as nutrition. We want to have a periodized approach to our nutrition so that we have a different strategy depending on where we are in our season. Your fueling for the bike also depends on how long you're going to ride for. So whether you're riding for 30 to 60 minutes would look totally different to if you're riding for like 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. So duration is a big factor, as well as the intensity of the session, because we burn different types of fuels at different intensities. So I'm going to teach you as part of the academy what you do burn at different intensities and then how that reflects and translates into our bike nutrition. The other big thing to consider with your fueling on the bike is your goals. Like, are you doing this ride from a performance perspective? Like, are you trying to get fitter and faster? Are we building into race season and doing race pace type stuff? Are we practicing our race nutrition on this type of ride? Or are we using this ride for fat loss purposes and we're not trying to necessarily fuel really aggressively? We want to be burning fat. So again, like, I bang on about this all the time, but having a periodized approach to your nutrition is so key, because you don't want to do the same things all the time. As you grow and develop as a triathlete as well, your plan will change. Like, the longer you're in the sport for, the more efficient your body gets at exercise, but also the more tolerant your gut gets to nutrition. Because most people kind of jump into the sport and pull a target of stuff off the internet or start talking to their mates, or they're talking with people that have been doing sport for a long time. What they tolerate and what suits them and what they've worked out as their plan has probably taken like 10 years to perfect. And so if you're only like fresh and new, then that's going to take you a long time to build your tolerance up for nutrition and also just get the body used to doing swim, bike, run. So that's also something to consider with your fueling on the bike, is that your plan should really evolve. You're not just kind of sticking to the one thing all the time. So as part of the academy, I'll teach you how to do that, how to like do your nutrition in the season, how to do it in the off season, how to have a bit of a plan for the different durations and intensities of your ride, and then also how to actually train your gut to absorb that nutrition, because that's the biggest thing. Like, you can keep shoveling food and fuel and sports drinking in all day. Whether it's actually digesting and breaking down and then being used as a fuel source is another question. So if you find that, you know, your tummy gets sloshy or you get full or bloated, or, you know, worst case scenario, it's ejected from either end, then your fueling is probably not right as well. I'm not going to go into that here. Hey, Liam, the coach, what are you doing here? All right, so is there any questions on long ride nutrition? I'll take a breath for a second. Hit me up on Facebook and Insta if you wanted to ask me anything about fueling on the bike. Hey, Tess. Tess just jumped on and she's just done a crazy Everesting of, like, I don't even know how many kilometers or miles of elevation, just insane. We should have talked about this before, Tess. All right, chuck me some questions if you have any. while I'm waiting for a couple of questions to come through, if there are any, just to quickly give you an update on tomorrow's agenda for launch week. Tomorrow, I'm not going live at lunchtime. I'm doing a webinar instead. It's free. All you have to do to register is go to dietitianapproved.com/webinar and pop your details in there. So I'm going to be jumping on Zoom at midday exactly, and we're going to talk about a lot of things really, but the periodized approach to nutrition. So why you need to stop eating the same thing every day as a triathlete. And I'm going to talk you through a lot of things, a lot of the mistakes I see triathletes make with their nutrition, and then what to do instead. So if you're not registered for that yet, so we're not going live here tomorrow at 12. I'm doing a webinar at 12 Brisbane time, and you need to go to dietitianapproved.com/webinar to register for that. And hey, if you can't join me at 12, like I realize it's in the middle of a work day for some, I thought I might catch you on your lunch break, but if you can't make it, I will send out the recording later on in the afternoon as well. So you can catch it up at another time that suits you. So that's happening tomorrow at 12. And at 8 a.m. tomorrow, I'm going to jump on here live with one of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy athletes, Nicola. She is a total legend, and I'm really excited for you to kind of hear about what's going on the inside from somebody that's not me, from somebody that's actually in there. So we'll jump on live at 8 a.m. tomorrow, Brisbane time, and you can sort of ask her questions if you want and just hear her talk about what she's doing, what she's learning, and some of the things that she's kind of put into place with her nutrition since joining the program. So that's at 8. So 8 o'clock, Nicola and I were going to chat on here, 8 a.m., and then midday is our webinar. And then we're back to the normal live sort of rhythm on what day is that? Tomorrow, today's Wednesday. That's on Thursday. So on Friday, we're back to the usual rhythm at 12. And I'll be going live every day at 12 all the way through till Monday because doors close up to the Triathlon Nutrition Academy on Monday night. So 6 p.m. Sharp, Australian Eastern Standard Time, so Brisbane time. So if you're sitting there thinking that you need help with your riding nutrition or any of your nutrition to do specifically with triathlon, then you've got until 6 p.m. on Monday night to come on inside and join us, and then doors are going to close again. So in 8 weeks, I'm going to transform you from feeling tired and exhausted all the time and having no idea what you're doing with your nutrition to feeling fully energized, smashing your sessions, and really finding a plan that works for you so that you're not just doing junk miles with your training. If you invest time in a training program or a coach, or even just the time it takes to do triathlon, like it's so time intensive, it's a very busy sport, then you want to make sure you're maximizing that time with your nutrition. And chances are you probably suck at your recovery nutrition. And we're going to talk about that on Friday, actually, why you suck at your recovery nutrition. And a lot of the other things when it comes to eating for triathlon, because it's so different to normal style eating. Like if you didn't do triathlon before, or you didn't train for 3 disciplines before, then you probably have no idea how to then feel and eat properly for doing 3 disciplines in a week. If you've come from like a gym program or even just running in particular, then what you're doing with your nutrition is probably not suited for triathlon specifically. It's a little bit, I don't know what the right word is. It's quite specific. And yeah, you can't just eat for running. You can't just eat for swimming. You can't just eat like a cyclist. You have to kind of eat like a triathlete. And I'm going to teach you how to do that as part of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy. All right, I might jump off and let you enjoy your public holiday if there's no questions. If you're watching the replay, please just pop a comment in and I'll catch it later. But otherwise, I will see you online tomorrow morning at 8 with Nicola or on the webinar tomorrow at midday. But make sure you register for that if you're not already and you want to join or you want to watch the replay later. That's at dietitianapproved.com/webinar. All right, team, have a great rest of your public holiday and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.